from this to this in just 2 easy steps. The first thing I'm going to do is give you a quick introduction to n8n automation. After that, I'm going to show you how to set up your first AI voice agent in VAPI in just a couple minutes. And I'm actually going to set it up incorrectly on purpose, so make sure you pay attention to see if you can find where I'm messing up on purpose. So the first thing we need to do is go to n8n. You can get started for absolutely free using the link in the description. Once you do that, you're going to see a page that looks like this. This is your empty canvas, just means that there's nothing on there right now. But basically, this is the editor tab. On the editor tab, we're able to make changes and add and edit nodes, such as you can click the plus and you can add nodes. And the other important tab on this page is the executions node. So when you click on that, you'll see something that looks like this. It basically logs the executions over here, and you can click on your executions and it'll populate over here so that you can see what's going on and you can identify any errors that are happening. Now that we understand the executions page, we basically need to get an execution on here so we can test it out. So go ahead and go over to VAPI, and VAPI is just a website for building AI voice agents. Here, we're on the assistants tab. Go ahead and create an assistant. Doesn't matter what you name it, so go ahead and create the assistant. Now, it's asking for OpenAI, and we're just going to choose GPT 4.1 mini because that seems to be the best model. The first message mode is going to be assistant speaks first with model generated message. System prompt is basically the instructions that the AI voice agent needs to do whatever it needs to do. Easiest way to do this is go to my school community and download the files. So I've already done that. It's going to be called it's going to be called assistant prompt plumbing. Okay, going to open that up. Control A, Control C to copy, Control A, Control V to paste, and hit publish. Like I said earlier, it's just going to be some instructions that tells it what it needs to do. After that, we need to create some tools. So to create the tools, go to the tools tab, select tools, create the new tool. It's going to bring you to the tools tab. You just need to create a tool. We're going to create the custom tool. This one's going to be called check availability. Check availability. Make sure we type that in correctly. Let's see. Check availability. Okay. And then the parameters is going to be click on visual editor and then just get the code from over here, like I said earlier. So double click on check availability, Control A, Control C, Control V, paste, save. Okay. So that's the first tool. Now we're going to create our second tool. This one's going to be called book appointments. Perfect. Parameters, go ahead and go to the book appointment.json, copy, paste, apply, save. Finally, we're going to need one more tool. It's going to be called qualifying lead plumbing. And the parameters, just going to go over here. Control A, Control C, visual editor, paste, apply, save. All right, so the last thing we need to do is basically go over to the assistants tab, and then here we need to scroll down to the let's see, where were we? The tools tab, and then basically click on select all to give the tools to our assistant that we just created. Go ahead and hit publish. Now, in order to connect VAPI with n8n, we need to basically pass over the production URL into VAPI. So scroll down to messaging. This is where we're going to pass it in. It's basically saying server URL, and that's the same thing as production URL. So go over to n8n. Actually, here we first need to input our workflow. So to do that, go to these 3 dots, click on import from file. It's going to be called, let's see, appointment setter plumbing.json. And bam, there you go. It automatically populates into your workflow. So the server URL that I was talking about is going to be VAPI tool called webbook. So double click on here, click on production URL. Make sure you just copy this a couple times so that you can actually copy and then go over here and paste it into the server URL. Perfect. Now, in order to limit the amount of executions that we're having, you could go down here to the server messages. And right now, as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff that's checked out, but we don't need all of that because otherwise it doesn't give us a lot of execution. So go ahead and click on select all twice just to uncheck everything. And the only one that we need is just called tool calls, because as I said earlier, we just create some tools and we only need to track the tool calls that are being sent over. So perfect. Go ahead and hit publish. All right, so now the assistants and the tools are completely done. The last thing that we need to do is go to phone numbers and create a new phone number. Now, if you're from the US, you can get up to 10 for absolutely free. So that's absolutely amazing. So go ahead and create. It does take some time to load, so we can just go back over to n8n and finish that up. So back over in n8n, we can go and basically fix up these 2 red nodes because it's already telling us that it needs to get fixed. So double click on the first one. The point here is we just need to set our credential. If you haven't already, go ahead and create new credential. I'm going to link to the video where I show you how to do that here. And then you're going to choose a calendar from the list, and we're going to choose, this is my real calendar. This is for getting the availability. And then this is going to be responsible for booking the appointment into a Google Calendar. So click on this. Again, it's going to auto-populate with your credential. The calendar that I'm going to actually book it in is going to be my demo calendar, just so that it doesn't get mixed up with all my other stuff. Now, once that is done, go ahead and hit save, and then turn the workflow to active. Now, basically what that means is that once it's active, it's going to be actively listening for information that's going to be passed over and potentially triggering this workflow. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I told you that I would intentionally set it up incorrectly. So were you paying attention? Let me know in the comments what you think that the error is. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a test right now. Oh, and I actually forgot to mention one thing. Go back over to VAPI, and we actually need to assign the assistant to the phone number. So just go down to inbound settings and then click on select assistant, new assistant, and then scroll back up and hit save. And basically what that does is whenever you call this number, this is going to be the assistant that answers the phone.
Thank you for calling Apex Plumbing. This is Elliot. How may I help you?
Hey, Elliot, I need to schedule an appointment.
I can certainly help with that. To understand the situation, could you briefly describe the plumbing issue you're experiencing?
Yeah, my sink is leaking.
Okay, I see. Is there any active water leaking right now?
Yes.
Got it. And just to be safe, have you been able to shut off the main water valve to your property?
No.
Perfect. Thank you for that information. Based on that, the best next step is to schedule an emergency service call with one of our licensed plumbers. Is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah.
Excellent. Which day and time would work best for you to have a plumber come out?
Yeah, just give me the soonest possible time.
I am checking for the earliest available appointment today for you. One moment. Unfortunately, it appears I am having trouble retrieving the available time right now. To assist you promptly.
All right, so basically what I just showed you there is these are my executions, by the way. And the first thing that happened was it used the qualify lead tool. This part is actually correct because basically after it qualifies the lead, it's going to call that tool, and it's basically going to work. Now, the problem is on the second part, it basically stopped here in the router, right? And so basically what is supposed to happen is it's supposed to basically go over here and then end up checking the availability in the calendar and then respond with available times. However, it got stuck in here. Now, why do you think that was the problem? Well, the problem is that if you look closely, the name of the tool is called check availability, right? But then if you go back over to VAPI, this is where I intentionally got it wrong. If you go back over to tools, I actually typed it in as check availability. Oh, I actually spelled it completely wrong, but it's supposed to be called check availability. And the only way that it will be able to basically route it correctly is if this name matches this name completely. So go ahead and hit save, and I'll basically fix the problem. Now, one way to basically check this is the easiest way is click on copy to editor, and that'll basically pin the data to this node so that you can basically go in and find all that data. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So click on the copy to editor. As you can see, this purple pin basically means that the VAPI webhook data is actually just in this node right here, and we can go in and look at exactly what got passed over. So let's go ahead and click on this, and then we get, this is basically all the information. So just scroll down a little bit. As you can see, it says that basically the information in this tool call is that it sent over a type called tool call, and the tool call was name check availability, right? That was spelled incorrectly, right? So all that we need to do is we need to change this in order to basically have the right tool call name. To prove to you that this actually works, what we can do is we can actually just click on this pencil here and edit it a little bit. So click on edit output. Now what we can do is we can just do search, and we can search for check availability. We can just search for this, right? And then everywhere where it was typed incorrectly, we can just hit replace with the correct name of the tool, which is check availability spelled like this. And just to make sure that you get it 100% correct, you can come over here and actually just hit Control C so that you're not making typing errors. So perfect. Okay. Then just hit replace all, and now just go back through and replace every instance of the incorrect one with the new one. Okay. So replace all. Perfect. As you can see, it replaced correctly. Go ahead and save. And then we can basically now use that information to retry the execution without having to call the AI agent ever again. So go ahead and save. And by the way, if at any point in time that you're debugging and you don't know how to solve it, what you can do is while the data is pinned over here, you can go over here to these 3 dots and hit download. And basically what that'll do is it'll be able to download the file completely as is with the input basically attached and pinned to here. And you can basically send it to me over in my school community, and I'll just basically debug it for you. You would just go over to the community discussion tab and just ask me any question that you want, and I'll make sure to get you the help that you need. All right, so now that we have updated the tool call name to the proper name, then we can just go back out here and then click on the router by tool name node. And then if we hit execute step, then it should execute properly and basically map to the correct route. So go ahead and try that out. And as you can see here in the input, as you can see, it's using this information and this is correct. And basically what this does is I can just show you how it works, but I can just delete this and you can just pull it over and just drop it in here. And as you can see, it's the exact same thing as this. It's basically what it's doing is you're using no code to create the reference to this node. So, and all over here in the output, as you can see now it's saying 1 item because it's properly basically mapping to this side of the workflow, which means that it's going to the output and not getting stuck in the middle here. So if you click out, you can actually see that it's saying 1 item here, and it's basically saying that it's passing the information over here, and that's completely working. So let's go ahead and actually just continue on this. I'm gonna hit execute step, and as you can see, it's basically populating with all of my available slots. So if you see August 29th at, I think that's 1:30 p.m., 2 p.m., and so on and so forth, right? And then we can go over here to the Google Calendar node and then hit execute step. And that's basically going to show the events that I have in my calendar. So obviously it shows that I'm busy at certain times. And then we can go over to the code node over here and then click execute step. This is going to filter the available slots. Okay, it's saying that my time zone is incorrect because I haven't used it correctly. So I'm going to go over to the variables tab. And then here I'm going to update the time zone just to make sure that it's in the right format. So America, Chicago, and then just hit save. And then I can go back over here and then hit execute step, and now it should work. There you go. So it's saying that the available slots that I have today are at 4 p.m. No, I'm reading that wrong. It's 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So that's perfect. And then we can go over to this last one and just hit execute step. And as you can see, this is the information that's going to pass over to the AI voice agent, and that's what's going to be able to say back to the caller. So that's why it says human readable. This is basically what it's going to say. Hey, we have available slots for Friday, August 29th at 11 a.m. and at 2 p.m. Okay, so that's absolutely perfect. And now that that is working, we can actually continue over here. Oh, that's right. We actually have to create an actual phone call because we need to actually collect new information to book the appointment. So I'm not going to waste time to actually show you that, but literally I show you how it works. You just need to call it and you just go through the conversation. You'll be able to book that appointment, and then it'll basically just show up in your calendar over here. So guys, as you can see, I showed you exactly how to go from a broken workflow to one that works completely perfectly. So now if that was helpful to you, make sure to hit the subscribe button to see more helpful tutorials just like this.